Good evening. My name is Yolanda Milam-Simpson. I'm a graduate student at Liberty University. My major is Master of Psychology. Today I want to talk with you about the social perceptions, a look at self-concept and self-esteem. My references or my sightings is by Chatty, Kaysen, and Valkenburg. I want to start off with just a thought. In this picture, it's a man and a woman dining. The woman is thinking to herself, I feel very secure, but I should try to act a little bit more insecure. The man is saying to himself, I feel very insecure, but I should try to act a little bit more secure. Two questions I'm going to try to answer as we go through this recording is, how is self-concept and self-esteem different, and how is it similar? What are the biblical and social psychological similarities in self-esteem? Going to start off with self-concept. What is self-concept? Self-concept is the sum of individuals' beliefs about his or her own personal attributes. We think to ourselves, who am I? Hazel Marcus in 1977 stated that self-concept is made up of the cognitive molecules called self-schemas. Self-schemas is the beliefs about oneself that guide the processing of self-relevant information. We can find that on page 53 of our textbook. Self-concept matches what our perception of what others think about us. In our social psychology textbook, on page 58, it states that recent psychologists feel that individuals are not born thinking of themselves as being lazy, reckless, smart, shy, or even outgoing. Just where does our concept come from? The following sources should be considered: introspection, perceptions of our own behaviors, cultures we reside in, other people, autobiographical memories, and Darrell Byrne in 1972 felt that people could learn about themselves the same way that others observe them, by observing ourselves. An article in our textbook, journal writing, friend networking sites, and their relationships to adolescents, well-being, and social self-esteem, which is one of the journal readings we had. It discusses positive feedbacks about our teens and how they use Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace, and how it enhances their self-esteem and well-being, or it provides a negative feedback, decreasing their self-esteem and well-being. The media has covered stories of individuals that are harming themselves and taking their lives because of low self-esteem. The article further discussed that three types of reinforcements that have been seen on the friend networking by the friend networking journal was the number of relationships that were formed through social networks, the frequency of feedbacks that is received on their profiles, such as appearance and self-descriptions, and the tone, whether it be positive or negative. The similarities of self-concept and self-esteem have things in common. Okay? So right here, self-esteem is a component of the self, consisting of person's position and negative self-evaluations. Are you satisfied with your job, your appearance, accomplishments, academics, personally, or even athletic abilities? It is a state of mind that goes up and down in response to one's failures, their success, social relationships, and other experiences in life. The comparison is That the self-concept is the knowledge about yourself. Who am I? Individual beliefs about our own attributes. The self-esteem side is the general attitude about ourselves. How confident are we? One feeling of high and low self-worth to overcome obstacles. It is a person's positive and negative attitudes about themselves. The similarities are self-concept and self-esteem. They have a lot in common. It is a reflective process and it can be influenced by observations and behaviors. Both have to do with oneself. Our differences are self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. A variety of self-esteem effects come from the term self-concept. Self-concept is the informational side of things that you like. When we look at the creation, we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. In order for anyone to have self-worth that is dependent of God, we have to be self-made, which is impossible. If a man is to create himself, he must already exist. If man exists already, they would not have to create themselves. We are made by God and in the image of God. For you were formed by inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul now knows it very well. Psalms 139, 13, and 14. Want to talk to you for a few minutes about the ABCs of self. A is the affect. B is the behavioral. C is the cognition. Cognitive question. How do people know about themselves, develop a self-concept, and maintain identity? I'm a believer that while no one is perfect, we all need to carry ourselves in a positive way. The question, who am I? I am a child of God. If I'm a child of God, I need to carry myself with a positive attitude, living life to the fullest within my means and believing on God's promises. Associated with good people and being in positive atmosphere, which help develop positive feelings, help us to form our identity. Our second question here is talking about affection. How do you evaluate themselves, enhance their images, and define against threats and self-esteem? Just to tell you a little story. Several years ago, I lost my job. I became a hermit. I stayed in the house. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to talk to people because I felt like these people were forming an opinion of me. So by staying inside, I didn't have to hear, I didn't have to see, and I didn't have to visualize what I thought they were perceiving me as. I didn't have any threats to be made to my already lowered self-esteem. My family talked and encouraged me that people did not see the same things that I was seeing, hearing, or even visualizing. My daughter told me to get up, fix up, and step out into the world with a purpose. I followed her advice. Behavior. How did people manage their own actions and present themselves to people? I realized that my actions was causing me to lay down on the many talents and works that God had placed in my life. I had to evaluate myself and I had to pray on what I saw as being a hindrance and that was lowering my self-esteem. I had to put myself in a winning atmosphere with people that wanted the same as I wanted. Just to sum up things, God created everything, including humanity. It pleased him to create for his glory. Romans 11:36, Revelations 4:11. God had pleasure and it brought him glory to create man and woman. In the New Testament, in a New Testament statement, it affirms all things were created through him and for him. Colossians 1 and 16. Creation. God did not create people equal to himself. In Genesis 1 and 26, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. God created man in his own image. Being made in the likeness and image of God means that God made us to resemble him in some ways or in all ways. Mankind. When God made the universe, he enjoyed creating mankind without flaws in all ways. The book of Genesis talks about how God created mankind. And finally, in moral order, before the fall of Adam and Eve, man was perfect, morally and righteous. So today I want to leave with you as we are studying psychology. We are learning about how man thinks, how they were created, why they act the way they do. So this is just a snippet of talking about how our self-esteem helps us become who we are, or helps us form the direction or the path that we go in, whether it be with high self-esteem, low self-esteem, or whether it just be the terms of concept. Thank you.